Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for August the 10th of 2020. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week, it is your one-stop shop for everything you need to know. And it was a very busy weekend and a very busy Monday as well. We have a lot to dive into on today's show, including our headline story that the Series S has been leaked in a controller's packaging that has hit the streets just a little bit prematurely. It looks like the new Xbox, alongside the Xbox Series X, is going to be making its debut very soon. Microsoft is rumored to be unveiling its second cheaper next-gen Xbox console this month, and it looks like it will definitely be called the Xbox Series S. The Verge has obtained photos of Microsoft's new next-gen Xbox controller in white, complete with packaging that mentions the Xbox Series S. Twitter user Zach S. was able to purchase the controller today, and we have confirmed it is genuine. The new controller was sold on a resale site today, and the side of the packaging notes that the controller works with both the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S consoles. Microsoft has not officially unveiled an Xbox Series S yet, nor has the company even confirmed a white Xbox Series X controller. A mysterious white Xbox Series X controller also appeared online last month, complete with the new D-pad, textured triggers, and a new share button. This new leak matches the previous controller leak, and retail packaging suggests these could be appearing in stores soon. The Xbox Series S will likely be Microsoft's second cheaper next-gen Xbox that has been codenamed Lockhart. A Microsoft document leaked back in June shed some further light on the company's plans for two next-gen consoles. Microsoft's Xbox Series X dev kit, codenamed Dante, allows developers to enable a special Lockhart mode that has a profile of the performance that Microsoft wants to hit on its second console. The Lockhart console is expected to include 7.5 gigabytes of RAM, around 4 teraflops of GPU performance, and ship with the same CPU found on the Xbox Series X. Microsoft is rumored to be unveiling the Xbox Series S sometime in August, and it will likely play a big part of the company's Xbox All Access subscription plans that bundle an Xbox console and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate together for a monthly fee. Microsoft won't comment on how a next-gen controller has leaked, but they do say, quote, "We have a lot in store for Xbox in 2020 and can't wait to share with you." Of course, they go on to say, however, we have nothing to announce at this time. So let's go ahead and talk about this box itself. This is clearly a legitimate product, and of course The Verge has confirmed, but if you look at the images that we have here, you can see that the Xbox Series X and the S are both listed alongside the Xbox One, Windows 10, Android, and iOS. Of course, you have the highlighted features of the Xbox Series S controller, or the Series X controller, depending on what console you play on, and then you have the share button as well that is highlighted, which is a standout feature. Overall, this is not shocking to see these products hit the streets, but you do have to ask the question, is this something that Microsoft is putting out there into the world so that people will begin talking about the Series S? Because there is no marketing campaign like a viral marketing campaign. Even if you can pose the situation as being potentially negative or leaky, you can still gain a lot of traction just by having the public discuss your product, and that very well could be exactly what is happening here. Now, when it comes to the look of the controller itself, let's go ahead and talk about that. Very good looking controller. I love this D-pad. It is similar to what you would get on the Xbox Elite Series controller, which is exciting for me. But overall, nothing that really shocks me outside of the fact that it is out there on the street. So when could we be seeing more about the Xbox Series S? I would say probably towards the middle of August. Within about 2 weeks, we should be getting some more information. But this is a very important console, especially when it comes to the first 6 months to a year of the next generation. I made a video early this morning talking about the fact that do you even need a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X this holiday season? Because the majority of gamers, those that aren't watching a podcast about the world of gaming, those that aren't playing games every day, might not necessarily need or even feel compelled to pick up a new console this holiday season, because the lineup of games on both sides of the fence are leaving a lot to be desired at this point in time towards the beginning of August. And so, Microsoft could potentially win over some that might not be willing to invest $500 or $600 in a new console, but they wouldn't mind putting down $250 or $300 on something that gets them more performance than an Xbox One X, but not quite the performance of the Xbox Series X, but also not at that price. So this is going to be a very interesting ripple in the dynamic of this console war, if you will, because this could potentially sell a lot of units depending on the games and, of course, the value that people see in Game Pass. Because if you can get all of this bundled together for a very low monthly fee, the fact that you don't get access to a couple of PlayStation exclusives, especially for the first couple of years of this console cycle, could win a lot of people back over on the Xbox side of things. But speaking of big game and console reveals, Microsoft is phasing out the Xbox 2020 phrasing for its new Xbox News. After using it only once, Microsoft is moving on from its Xbox 2020 phrasing. Microsoft will no longer use the phrasing Xbox 2020 as part of its announcements and programming, as reported by Eurogamer. The phrasing was announced back in May, but only used once. Initially said to be used as part of a monthly marketing moment, the phrasing has been officially phased out. How many times can they say the same sentence over and over again and then force me to read it? Anyways, Reset Era first noticed the change in Microsoft's old May blog post. Microsoft's full update on the change points out that the phrasing implies that Microsoft would only release information as part of a monthly showcase, but here's the complete update, verbatim. Quote, Xbox has a massive year ahead of us, as outlined below. After reassessing our programming for the rest of the year, we have decided to stop using the Xbox 2020 phrasing, as it implied that we would be releasing information in one way only, through a dedicated monthly show. We have got so much more to share with news about Xbox Series X, new games like Halo Infinite, and cloud gaming via Xbox Game Pass. We are going to share that news in a variety of ways. It may sometimes be dedicated to a show, YouTube videos, partnering with others, or sharing the latest via Xbox Wire. We want to stay flexible with how we connect with you, end quote. Microsoft already stopped using the phrasing, but has now officially commented on the change. Instead of using the phrase, which implies news only at a monthly showcase, Microsoft will instead roll out news in a variety of ways. Now, of course, we have seen this from the very beginning, with the reveal of the Series X happening at the Game Awards last December. Then you saw people like YouTuber Austin Evans, I believe, if I remember correctly, giving a deep breakdown of the Xbox Series X hardware. You saw a lot of the information revealed via various news outlets because of interviews with Xbox executives. It's that kind of marketing that really does drive home the organic feel that Xbox is trying to get with its marketing. You see that on social networks like Twitter. You see that through, again, affiliating with creators and reporters in the industry. And so to move away from Xbox 2020, probably not the worst idea, but I do worry that you might not be able to really drive home that same level of hype that a PlayStation Showcase or a Nintendo Direct normally would. It's good to be able to have that kind of branding whenever somebody sees the name Xbox 2020 or PlayStation Showcase or Nintendo Direct, whatever it might be, you can immediately know what you are going to get, and that's not necessarily the case with Microsoft. But regardless, we will be getting some kind of event later on this month for the release and the announcement of the Xbox Series S. Speaking of announcements, though, a new clue towards Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is coming on August the 14th, and so it begins. After an extended waiting period, it appears we are finally going to see what is next for Call of Duty. Activision kicked off an ARG, alternate reality game, by shipping crates to different streamers. These crates contain projectors which contain clues that were eventually deciphered into two messages, Turn 11 White and Bish, you are here. These messages are a reference to an infamous chess match that took place in Cold War 1972 between Boris Spassky and Bobby Fischer of the Soviet Union and USA, respectively. Further deduction led to a website, pawntakespawn.tv. This website has a clock that periodically flashes two numbers, 8:14 and 12 o'clock, indicating that some game is likely being revealed on August the 14th at 12 o'clock. No time zone is given, but it's likely PT or ET. Previous reports indicate that this year's game is actually Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which is backed up by the Cold War theming of this ARG and website. Activision previously confirmed in its Q2 2020 earnings call that the next Call of Duty game would be released this year and is being developed by Treyarch and Raven. This game will no doubt arrive on current-gen consoles in addition to the upcoming Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, and Windows Central will have everything for you as soon as the news does break. Now, I personally would not expect a game reveal on August the 14th, but the next clue, or perhaps one of these mini teaser trailers, because we already know a lot about Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Although the name has not been confirmed, that is what seems to be the most likely scenario because of a leaked Doritos bag that we saw a couple of weeks back. What a way to leak the game. But you can see a lot of clues in Warzone as well. We've been talking about the different rooms that are found and the different hints that are there. Of course, you can go back and check out other episodes of the Jampack Report where we have broken all of that down. But the campaign has begun, and we will see more on Call of Duty later on in the month. And again, it is about time, because normally Call of Duty marketing begins around June, with normally an E3 showcase, but of course, with no E3 this year, and with a pandemic, things have been a very much bit different with 2020's game lineup. Now, going back to the Xbox news, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is actually launching tomorrow, at least sort of. It is getting a beta. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers will be able to start playing a limited number of Xbox Game Pass games streamed to their phones as part of a new xCloud beta beginning on August the 11th. Quote, "We are entering a limited beta period to ensure a smooth transition of the cloud gaming experience to the Xbox Game Pass app on Android," a spokesperson for Microsoft told The Verge in a statement. "The beta will let people who are subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate use the service's existing Android app to stream a subset of available titles to their phones. iPhone users, meanwhile, remain out of luck thanks to Apple's existing ban on video game streaming apps on the App Store. This new functionality for the Game Pass app will be separate from the existing Project xCloud Preview app that has been in beta since last year and is said to be discontinued on September the 11th. When Game Pass Ultimate streaming launches for real a few days later on September the 15th, it will support somewhere north of 100 games, including the entire Halo series, as well as stuff like Ark Survival Evolved and Destiny 2. It is not yet clear how many of these will be available to stream once tomorrow's beta begins, but Microsoft did not immediately respond to a request for a Kotaku comment. "I've been trying xCloud," the author says, "off and on since last year using the Preview app and have been impressed by how well the experience holds together. Even when the service is not running super smoothly, it was still nice to be able to pick up games on the fly while watching TV or commuting to work to slowly chip away at them. Now, if only I could get it on my Switch." I agree. It would be phenomenal to get this service on the Switch, but lo and behold, it seems that's not going to be the case. So Game Pass Ultimate, of course, a phenomenal deal, and I love the beta on my iPhone, but unfortunately that's been discontinued, and as it stands right now, I don't really have any other way to play xCloud games. But that's okay. It is what it is. So if you do want to dive in, again, the beta starts tomorrow, and you can play a limited number of games between now and the time that the real deal kicks off later in September. Now let's follow up some stories we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. Spider-Man's story in Marvel's Avengers will be standalone. Two leads on Marvel's Avengers confirmed that the story for 2021 Spider-Man DLC will be entirely standalone. Of course, all of this is reported in an interview with WCCF Tech. Developers of Marvel's Avengers have confirmed that Spider-Man's inclusion in the game will not interact with the main story in any significant way. His story DLC will be its own story entirely. As combat designer Vince Napoli put in the interview, Sony and Crystal Dynamics want the DLC to be seen as a cherry on top. The wall crawler status as a PlayStation exclusive up to this point has been mired in controversy, even though we don't even know a hard date for the DLC outside of 2021. It could not have been worse timing on Sony's part to announce him as a platform-exclusive character in the same breath as a multitude of other changes and other kinds of announcements that, while not necessarily surprising, seemingly everyone but the staunchest Sony fans are calling anti-consumer. In the interview, the devs not only make clear that Spider-Man will have a standalone story, but they also make it clear that his story will have little to no impact on the game's overarching storyline. They also detail the logistics behind why Spider-Man is exclusive to Sony platforms. While it's already been hinted at by various people involved with the project, apparently the decision was entirely out of Crystal Dynamics and even Square Enix's hands. According to the interview with creative director Sean Escague and combat designer Vince Napoli, it was made clear early on how and why Spider-Man was exclusive. While they were never quoted directly, the article says immediately they made it clear that the rules of the relationship between Marvel and Sony meant that Spider-Man exclusivity was completely out of the hands of Crystal Dynamics, and probably Square Enix too for that matter. The PlayStation exclusive Spider-Man DLC has no details to speak of as of yet, but it will certainly be interesting to see Crystal Dynamics' take on the world's most popular superhero. What a strangely written article. Also, the screenshot is from Marvel's Spider-Man on PS4, but okay, we'll go with that. Regardless, let's go ahead and break this down. First and foremost, very interesting to hear from somebody on the team that the reason why Spider-Man is exclusive is because of a partnership between Marvel and Sony. This goes all the way up to the film branch of both of these companies, so that explains a lot as well. But I do find it very intriguing that this story will be standalone. Now, taking a step back, it does make sense because you can't really have a large, important superhero like Spider-Man be deeply invested in a story when he's not going to be available on, I suppose, 3 out of the 4 platforms that the game is available on, if you want to count Google Stadia. Of course, I'm talking about PlayStation ecosystem, Xbox, PC, and then Google Stadia. And so with all of this being taken into consideration, I think the fact that Spider-Man is not included in other platforms is actually harming the experience that Spider-Man brings to the table, because not only is he not available in the Xbox and Stadia and PC side of things, but that means that his story is likely not as impactful as it could be if it was directly ingrained in the main storyline of Marvel's Avengers. That feels strange to me. Now, it is worth mentioning that in the film side of the world, you do have the exclusion of Spider-Man for a large portion of the Avengers movies, up until the point whenever you actually see Tom Holland become involved in the project. That's when Spider-Man begins to come into play. So could it work? Absolutely, but it feels like there's still a lot left to be desired when it comes to actually baking Spidey into the world of the Avengers. It just has a weird feeling all around. So with that being said, Spider-Man is going to be a standalone adventure in the PlayStation ecosystem, and the rest of the world of Marvel's Avengers will act on its own. But man, the story just keeps getting worse somehow. Marvel's Avengers has a set of skins for Virgin Media customers. Marvel's Avengers will reward you with a set of cosmetic hero skins if you are a Virgin Media customer here in the UK. In the US, the items will also be available if you use mobile phone network Verizon. A second set of cosmetics has also been found, apparently to release via a promotion with Intel. These seem more elaborate and offer new clothing as well as a new color scheme. Twitter user Player Avenger has been doing a good job rounding these up, and you can see both sets in the post below. The Virgin Media skins are colored red. And of course, here you have it, the disgusting Verizon look, and then you have the Intel look, I suppose. Oh, God, I hate it so much. But that's not all. A further promotion is also available in the US within packs of 5 gum chewing gum. A variety of rewards are included, and it sounds like you will need to buy up to 8 packs to get them all. Included are a nameplate, in-game currency, and an emote for Kamala, so she blows a bubble gum bubble. And of course, PlayStation owners will get Spider-Man and a set of themed missions as a console exclusive. In addition to the iconic web-swinging hero, PlayStation owners will also get exclusive community challenge and timed early access to other skins and rewards. Some fans hoping to see Spider-Man appear on PC and Xbox versions of Marvel's Avengers have expressed disappointment in the hero's PlayStation exclusivity. IGN asked Scott Amos, boss of developer Crystal Dynamics, for his take, who said, quote, "I would say that Marvel's Avengers has a lot of heroes, and with the scope and the breadth of the game in this universe, players are going to have their hands full with a lot to play with," Amos said. And as we have just announced with Hawkeye, there are more heroes to come, so this is an opportunity to celebrate Spider-Man's edition uniquely for those players on PlayStation because of that relationship. But I think there is so much of a world for people to explore, I wouldn't look at that as a reason not to embrace it, and the opportunity to add Spider-Man on PS4 and PS5. I would say look at all this stuff you get to play with. And for those players who absolutely want to play as Spider-Man, you have the option to do so on PlayStation. Yes, that was actually said in an interview. Again, I want to break this down. You have tons of PlayStation exclusivity. You have a deal with Virgin Media and Verizon. You have a deal with 5 gum. This game is being hoarded out so much that it is sickening. I loathe it, and again, the beta hit this weekend. Although the hardcore Marvels fans really enjoyed it, it seems that there's a lot of critics that really have a lot of problems with Marvel's Avengers, and the more gameplay that I watched, the more that I was kind of disappointed in how the entire game was shaking out. Just doesn't look that great. Looks like a very pretty Ultimate Alliance. That's the way that I see this game. But again, I was never the target demographic for Marvel's Avengers, but man, is this just overall a disappointment that has been just chewed up and spit out by corporate America. Really, really disappointed in this one. However, moving on to another superhero-related story, AT&T may be keeping hold of all of Warner Bros. Interactive after all. Last month, AT&T was reportedly looking to sell Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment, publisher of Batman Arkham games, NetherRealm's Injustice series, the LEGO games, and more. Back then, it seemed that Microsoft was interested in taking the publisher and its studios on, but Warner Bros. Games department might still be staying put after all. In an email sent to staff a few days ago, Warner Media CEO Jason Kilar said that Warner Bros. Interactive remains part of the studios and networks group, only that very small part of the email touches on the fate of WB Games, but Kilar went on to announce that Warner Media would be reducing the size of its teams and workforce across the wider company as part of the changes outlined in the email. There is no explanation provided for AT&T's decision to keep hold of Warner Bros. Interactive, aka WB Games. The giant conglomerate had racked up a whopping $200 billion in debt. Of course, it may simply be that it's holding on to WB Games for now and will revisit the decision to sell at a later date. This news comes around the same time that Rocksteady finally announced its next game, Suicide Squad, published by Warner Bros. It's looking that we'll get a proper reveal on August 22nd at DC's virtual Fan Dome event. So if you were hoping for Xbox exclusive or Xbox published Batman games or Injustice fighting games or LEGO titles, it does not look like that is going to be the case. AT&T is keeping hold of its big game publishing division. Now, Twitch is also making some pretty big moves, or you could say Amazon is, because Amazon has renamed Twitch Prime to Prime Gaming as of today. After 4 years, Twitch Prime is no more. Instead, the premium version of Twitch's membership has been renamed to Prime Gaming to better fit within the lineup of Amazon's other Prime services. Twitch Prime is part of the many benefits Amazon Prime members get, including Prime Music and Prime Video, but because it had a completely different name, Twitch Prime did not exactly fit into the company's standard benefits list and did not have the same association those other products and subscriptions have. With the new Prime Gaming name, the service should fit just right into the list of Amazon Prime benefits. Other than the name, nothing else new is changing. Prime Gaming will offer the same free games and in-game exclusive items as Twitch Prime, and the free subscription to one Twitch channel a month that many Prime members and streamers enjoyed will exist. Prime Gaming members can visit the services page on Amazon to see the in-game benefits and, of course, freebies that are always going to be available from month to month. So, this is not the best move in my opinion. Of course, I am deeply affiliated with the name Twitch Prime. It's something that has been around for quite some time now. Again, 4 years is how long the service has been around according to Polygon. But the way that I see it, Twitch is about so much more than gaming. And I know that sounds cliche, but I watch Twitch primarily for talk shows and music streams, not necessarily gaming. And so I think that considering Twitch has been trying to market itself as a wider live streaming platform, to have the service that is supplemental to Twitch branded as gaming kind of narrows the scope of what can be expected from Twitch as a platform for outsiders, and that's kind of a bummer. Now, that's just my 2 cents. Again, for the majority of people that use Twitch, probably on point. But regardless, as long as none of the perks are changing, I don't really see any kind of big huff to get yourself in a tizzy about. What kind of terminology was that? Who really knows? But that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed today's show, drop me a like down below and let me know what you thought about everything we talked about here today. Are you looking forward to an Xbox Series S, or are you going to be holding out for a PlayStation 5, or maybe even getting the Series X? Maybe you're sticking with a PC or a Nintendo Switch. Would love to hear how you are shaping yourself up this holiday season for a new console, or if you're holding out. But until tomorrow, you guys have a fantastic rest of your night. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.